found yourself in the position of possibly being most likely a target individual. And you find yourself, or you find yourself actually in the position of being a target individual. You find yourself being surveyed by the government, most likely gang stalkers, people throughout the neighborhood, and color coordinations using many different types of hand signs, different coordinations to signal each other. And then later, someday along the line, you find yourself experiencing induced attacks which feels as if like it's being emanated by radiation. You do some research only to find out that these things are happening within the environment. Not just to you, but to many. But not just many, but millions. You try to talk to your fellow neighbors or your fellow family members about the situation, but due to the significance of the reason of what the targeting program is actually made for, it's meant to be transparent towards individuals within the common society, but not to be transparent to ones that are being targeted by it directly. It could, in turn, involve certain people around in the environment, even if they're not even aware of it. You find out that smear campaigns, gaslighting, workplace mobbing, many different forms of harassment are happening, but it's as if the people around don't even take it as seriously as they should. But they actually act to take things seriously if it was not involving the target individual. As long as it's not a target individual, they try to find justice and actually try to uphold the law in these aspects. But this is just a ruse. It's just a front, a farce, a lie, a sham, a counterfeit of what they should be, but in reality, they're not. We are surrounded by communities that don't uphold the law like they should. It's not all of us that are like this, and remember, you're never alone out there. And don't ever forget that you are never alone. The enemy wants you to feel isolated. They want you to feel as if there's no one else out there who understands what you're going through. They want you to feel as if you're you're worthless, that you don't really own up to nothing. But this can't be further from the truth. This can't possibly be any more farther from the truth. Because the reality is, it doesn't matter how much cash or how much payouts these individuals who harass us, target us get. They seem to find a fascination to continue to chase after us, to go after us, to stalk us, to harass us, to have every visual aspect, insight in our lives imaginable as much as possible. They want to have cameras in your home. They want to be in your phone. They want to be in your computer. They want to be in every single part in your life, even if it just means being mentioned at all. It's kind of an addiction, actually. Kind of like an attention whore that just doesn't know when to stop. And basically to point out similarities to this would be very well more than understandable. This program involves people who are naturally addicted to inducing torture onto other individuals. Growing up, I've realized that a lot of people come up with bogus excuses to do the things that they do when it comes in terms with another individual. As far as either making them look bad, to make themselves look better or whatever, right? But it's only the reason why they do this is because they don't have the not only the confidence, but also they feel devalued. So they need to profit off of someone else's values, who don't even have to actually show off, who doesn't even have to actually, put showmanship out there, have to give it their all, to basically scream out for attention, just for people to recognize that person's greatness. Everyone can achieve greatness. Everyone has that possibility. But the difference is that we are amongst people who basically just want to just be, just cherished and actually just given these privileges without earning them. And the gender doesn't even matter in this factor, because it could either be a female or male that is like this. We've been stalked by both genders for quite some time. We've been attacked, we've been harassed, we've been lied upon, gaslighted, and workplace mobbed in so many different ways, in so many different situations that we can't really keep up with them all. It's a never-ending circus when it comes to the street theater, too. But over time, I've come to learn to also ignore these things. Now, when I say ignore, what I pretty much mean is fix the situation for you into your benefit. Fix it to where you can basically record and jot everything down without having to give little to no reaction at all. Don't react to their street theater. Don't react to their behavior, because it's meant to grasp your attention. It's meant to program you. It's meant for you to tune in. It's meant for you to give your all into it. Take back your power. Take back your life. Take back your time. Put your foot down and say, I'll be damned if I allow myself to be made a victim for profit, for arrogant nobodies who have nothing better to do than to basically value their life on the aspect of the direction of where mine is going. I have my life, but they need to get their own. One for themselves to live, instead of coming up with an excuse to try to live mine. I do not wish this program upon anybody at all, because to go through this, it's no fun and games. It isn't. This is a program that's dedicated to your undoubtable destruction in many different aspects of life. The thing is that there are things that these individuals can get away with and things that they cannot. There are various situations that even these perpetrators, these gang stalkers, these gaslighters, these people who are basically doing the street theater, can also fall victim into as a result of their behavior. When they act out, you got to understand, they utilize different things that are going to be in the area. This is why I always give advice to fellow target individuals to look, don't just make the assumption that everybody's a perp, because they want you to think that way. They want you to believe everybody's in on it, but it's not really the case. I've been harassed with color harassment before, but the thing is that I acknowledge the fact that there are going to be people out there wearing those colors who are not even aware of the program and not even involved with it. I mean, hey, I was at a point where I didn't know, so logically other people would be in the same boat. But that doesn't mean that there are not going to be people in these colors who are not involved. There are going to be people wearing these colors who are involved as well as there are not. The difference is they do these various methods that are meant for you to tune in order to coax you into acting out. When you start to act out, they go over to those people who are not involved, and that's when they begin to actually start the whole character assassination tactic. They'll basically call you just about everything in the book, imaginable. They'll come up with any possible excuse to get people on our sides just to do something to induce these attacks. The major problem is that people nowadays have been so dense that they don't even question, the very reality that they're actually are being told. It could be even just like that video I'll uploaded before, the whole "what would you do" video. That was a really, really good explanation, because it showed that there are people out there who just do not question the validity of what they're being told. They don't question the facts themselves. They don't or should I say the whole thing, they're just promoted as facts. A lot of people don't even try to understand, trying to think that, do the police really have an initiative to lie? And of course they do. They have lied before. Why wouldn't they lie now? It's nothing different, But do they ever question that aspect? No, not at all. The enemy preys on a person's innocence and a person's dependency to want to do good, to want to be able to protect, to want to be able to save a life or save someone. Just as well as there are going to be good things out there, even for us. There's going to be things out there that are bad that look to exploit that to its own advantage. If there's a TI group, there's obviously going to be an infiltration group out there that are filled with perps. This is going to happen. If there are websites there to help target individuals, there are going to be websites completely ran by perps. A PSYOP network, meant to appear as something, but in reality, it's something different. This could be many different things. It could be a call line. It could be anything you can possibly think of. It's the same thing even when it comes to Satanists, even when it comes to occultists, any of these things. They can basically base any type of thing that they'll say whether it's a color, object, a symbol, any of these things, and just say it's satanic and say it's this and say it's that. The thing about this is that, you know, if you're looking at this from a spiritual perspective, you need to basically put your own meanings behind different things in order to basically counteract it, and also acknowledge to refuse what what the enemy's meanings are in their symbolisms too. Act in protest, you know. Also, if you're ever praying over food, always mention that, if it is kosher, then you're grateful for it. But if it's not kosher, then you're apologizing for consuming it, because in most cases, we do have to do things that we don't normally do. For instance, it's also mentioned like you shouldn't eat pork, right? In certain various variations of the Bible, it says this, right? But at the same time, you may find yourself in a position to where you don't have really much to eat at all. The specific reason as to why I say you should possibly use methods like this in your prayers is because technically the enemy has done things to the food, man. Look at what Monsanto's doing. Like, they are basically promoting, genetically modified crops, right? That's not healthy for us at all. It's just not. If that ain't enough to go by, I mean, look at what all the other stuff that they've been doing. They want to basically promote cockroach milk by basically getting rid of the original dairy cow milk. But how much you want to bet that these so-called elites, these fascists who are basically promoting this stuff, are going to be drinking the same thing? Because I don't think they are. I believe they're going to continue to drink the original source of milk, but not that of which they promote on other people. All this leads down into is selfishness and corruption. Corruption for all except for a small group of which imposes that corruption. And the situation with target individuals is no different. Gang stalkers can have girlfriends or boyfriends, but not the TI, right? Now, if the TI ever even is in a relationship, even with another TI, the situation is going to play out like this. If they can't get one to basically betray the other, they're going to, and this could even involve a person who's a non-TI in a relationship with a target individual. If they can't get one to turn against the other, then what they're going to do is basically try to actually start attacking that person. Be mindful of these, but also be mindful that this is not always the case. The reality around all of us is very deceptive because of it being twisted in our blind spots. Things happening when we're not looking, when we're not paying attention, when we're asleep, when we're awake, or when we're doing other things. All of these things need to be kept into account, as well as ordinary situations that happen too. Because in the reality of this, they prey upon your attentiveness to everything that they're doing, and to also marking everything as just dealing with them, when this is simply not the case. There are going to be methods to where they are going to, and my apologies for this meme, but I just felt the need to share this with you all. So I suppose I should go ahead and read it. Let's see. A perp message needs to tell me liking my own post is narcissism. Yes, I like my own post. That's why I'm posting it. Duh. I give my own precise praise, cheer, and motivation. This. Wow, they really should spell that better than that. Justice Ti beat to the beat of my own drums. I hope I pronounced that right, because your burping ain't go do it. Wow, they really need to fix that. They really need to fix that. Wow. Okay. And here's another one. That does the remote neural monitoring of targeted individuals via electronic harassment satellite technology exist? Yes, it will soon be deployed to all American citizens thanks to the help of unconstitutional corrupt agencies and sociopaths stalking informants. And this has happened throughout the drones. You'd be surprised at how many narcissists are out there. How many people are just completely not only dense, but you see, they depend on a lot of things. They depend on a person's evil like nature, or just, a bad like nature that would be addicted to stuff like this, right? They depend on that. They depend on a person who is desperate. They depend on a person who is afraid. They look for these different things and they manipulate it to their benefit to force people to do things they wouldn't normally do, or to just to get them into doing things that they actually would normally do. All the while this is happening, it's all being covered up. It's all being hidden. If a person gets poisoned, it's hidden. If a person gets framed, it gets hidden. The real initiative of what happened to the whole setup gets hidden. If a person gets lied upon and gaslighted, it's hidden. Whenever they try to look for help, it's always the same thing. And it's simply because it's the people around the area who have already been compromised, and who have already been paid off, or who have already been threatened into submission, or are just being told to just keep their mouth shut. Remember, Martin Luther King did say this: injustice for one is injustice for all. And this is nothing new at all. None of it is new. It's just a shame, though. With this stuff still happening, the next generation has to deal with it, They have to take up the mantle. They have to take up the torch. And of course, the kiss asses of Uncle Sam want you. They want you as a target individual for no-touch torture, remote neural monitoring, satellite harassment. They want you to play the victim. They want you to be the victim. They want you to be the whole thing of where they're just making money off of you while they mock you behind the scenes. But in the end, these are just people pretending to be a lot more powerful than they really are. In the end, technology can be destroyed just as well as it was created. The face you make when organized stalking informants electronically harass you, commenting on every internal voicing, taking part in adult bullying via voice-to-skull satellite technology. Yeah, there's one other meme, but we gotta move on from that. Target Individuals Day, August 29th. This was very important. UN reaches out to Target Individuals 2020. Cyber torture is a serious crime against humanity. Get yourself updated. Share, demand, change. www.cybertorture.com. Task Force EU Coalition. I don't know how legit that website is, but I felt the need to share it with you all. Let's check out the next one, shall we? And this is what I really wanted to show you all. Organized stalking, harassment, slander is a felony. If you are involved in this activity, you are taking part in an illegal program that is responsible for hundreds of deaths. Understand the money that people make from this program. I don't care what you're doing. It could be something small as even bending your ass, taking your pants off in public, or doing something that you have that is completely degrading. And yes, people have done this. People have done disgusting stuff like this in public. People have committed a lot of things that they don't want you to see. They don't want you to see this because they don't want you questioning why in the hell would people do that? Why would they do that? Well, think about it. How many people have been so desperate for money? Look at the way society has been happening. Look at the way the entertainment has been happening. Look at the way the music industry has gone to. It's all meant for both money, drugs, and sex. That's it. That's all it is. That's all it's mostly is. But don't fret, because there is music out there that is not like that. There's good music out there that doesn't basically, issue ensue itself like that. The only difference is you have to be willing to search. And I'm grateful for those who shared, the music that's not like that. I'm truly grateful for that because at least it shows that there are people out there still making wonderful, talented music, but do not allow themselves to be compromised by these third parties that seek to basically dumb down the masses. Let's continue. Let's see, where did I leave off at? Okay. You are being lied to by intelligence agencies that are profiting from these programs. They tell you that you are safe. You will not be held responsible for your actions in this program. They are wrong. Executive Order 13818 was signed in December of 2017 and is currently being used to arrest and prosecute the perpetrators of these crimes. Because of the unconstitutional and illegal tactics in this program are being carried out in organized fashion, it is considered a human trafficking. This means that and please believe me on this because it's true. Human trafficking involves trafficking of children, trafficking of both men and women, of all ages, senior citizens, it doesn't matter. People do these messes for profit. But the people are suffering as a result, and these individuals who pretend to try to be, helping hands and stuff like that, right? These people who sometimes are most likely you'll find them in the mental health institutions. These people who are behind these licenses that allows them to basically prescribe medications, and if not that, also people who are just licensed into certain various different things. Some of these individuals can very well be involved in human trafficking. Illegal, unconsented implantation, unconsented drug injection, poisoning, you name it. So many different things. People have died and had their own organs harvested. And no, I am not going to hold back on how bad this gets. I'm going to tell you exactly how bad it gets. People have died purposely being drawn into their own deaths due to this whole thing leading into murder. And that's what it is. It's murder, and it was covered up. All these situations. Kenneka Jenkins is no different. The situation with Gavin Long was no different. They did to him what they've done to so many, and it caused him, it's gotten so bad that it caused him to take an action. I don't condone his actions because in the end, even though he took some of those cops out, they're going to find some other people to replace them. That's not the way to beat this program. In the end, they're going to try to use stuff like that against target individuals, They're going to use an excuse like that against us, and in order to cover their own behinds for what they've been doing. Because of the unconstitutional and illegal tactics in this program are being carried out in an organized fashion, it is considered human trafficking. Remember that. And think about how, I'm going to actually make a follow-up video for this. How common is human trafficking? Because if you are a protector of children, you got to understand how bad that is. If you are a protector, if you love your family, you got to understand how bad this is. If you love the elderly, you have to understand how bad this is. But after I finish this, I want to explain something else to everybody too. The FISA Court, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, has been corrupted as they have learned how much money can be made by adding targets to the watch list. They are using your tax money to carry out the operations of this program. There are currently more than 30,000 sealed indictments ready to be served on the perpetrators of this crime. The penalty for this crime is prison and assessed seizure. That means all of the money perpetrators has acquired working in this program will have to be given back. Get out of this program before it is too late for you. Again, do not let them get you to basically to have your own life destroyed just because they want to make a profit. Regular citizens are not protected from this. They may tell you that you are, but get this. The only time that they will go as far as trying to protect that individual is if it goes as far as exposing them to. That's going way into it. But if it's something as small, petty, just like something simple like that, and it's, it doesn't affect them at all, they're not going to protect that person who's most likely a gang stalker, who's a provocateur, who's a gaslighter, a narcissist, a sociopath. They're not going to protect that person at all. They're not. They say they will, but this is a lie. And the very fact that you can't even question, what motivation would they have to lie, dude? Look at what they're involved in. That should be more than enough, to question that. So, there's another thing we need to talk about. People are being programmed. Everybody needs to understand this. People are being programmed against their own will. Skies are being poisoned. No one consented to this. Frequencies are being broadcasted all around the nation. Stuff that people are not into, are not interested in, but it's being beamed into them on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, with non-stop. You have to detox yourself just to catch a break. You have to use frequencies just to break off the connection, just to get yourself in your right mind, and not from what they're trying to program you to. It's not easy, because each time you try to make as much progress as possible, there's going to be people out there looking to tear down that progress as much as possible. These are dealing with the individuals who basically said that their whole choice of judgment is so reckless that it puts themselves at risk as well as the people around them too. But we still need to understand this, though. I don't care what type of crime it is. I don't care what type of perpetrator it is. There are people out there being programmed to be that. That's another thing that needs to be understood. There are probably people who have been basically who have been programmed into something that they didn't consent to, and the mindset that's being programmed into them is from another individual from an undisclosed location who is basically free from both the crime and both the ridicule from the victim of the actual act that basically was committed. And instead, another person who was just the victim of circumstances of this crime is paying the price for what someone else did. Now, how fair is that? A group of it, and now to basically explain this to you a little bit more so it's easily to understand. These human traffickers, these people, this government-run program sneaks in behind the scenes. Again, the program is meant to be transparent to everyone except the target. And they only leave it transparent for a certain amount of time until they're ready to basically, raise the veil, and then basically all of a sudden all of this unusual stuff starts to happen that just doesn't seem right at all. I tell you though, a person in a situation like this, they're not aware of the fact that the potential of their food being poisoned. They're not aware, and yes, the fast food restaurants will do this. They will do that because they've done it to me. They're not aware of the fact that their own home can be compromised when they leave. I mean, of course, yeah, break-ins happen, but they don't understand at the time that people are being paid immediately to just go off and do it. So there's motivation there, but the motivation is very, very deceitful in its intent. The individual's also being hacked, having frequencies beamed onto them, being experimented on. And if the person just so happens to get so far down to where they have no control over their actions anymore, they just become a radio-controlled puppet because they become so infected with this stuff, so controlled, so programmed, to the point that where they don't even have a legitimate thought anymore. They can basically confuse the AI thought process as their own. Can you really put that person at fault? You can't. because that person didn't ask for that. That person didn't ask, whether it's a male or female, doesn't matter. Whether it's a kid or an elderly person, doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, none of these individuals ever asked for this. No one did. No one consented to it. No one asked for it. Nobody consented to, predictive programming. No one consented to basically having the skies poisoned. No one consented to having the food poisoned. No one consented to having the water poisoned. No one consented to any of this. But it's still happening. As soon as people try to talk about it, here come the experts to basically try to hush everybody up. Not wanting nobody to talk. And if they can't shut a person up, they get gaslighted. They get gang stalked. They get targeted. Put on the same program that's out there to hide itself from the masses while it's programming the masses behind the scenes. Twisting things, changing things, causing inner conflicts between different groups, causing all of this order out of chaos in order to ensure its own interest while destroying others' interests. And what do you get at the end of all of this? Your freedom taken away, your life destroyed, and the thought of, and it's either that or the thought of aiding yourself into the destruction of someone else, which inevitably leads into murder. They actually happen, this program has been known to be kidnapping children as far as early as being babies, to the point to where they, and I've heard this from various different target individuals too, quite a bit of them. As for myself, I don't know whether I'm chipped or not. I really don't. But I know one thing's for certain. I dedicate myself to deprogramming myself from this program. I don't want anything to do with it, and I don't want to be of it. I'm not interested in it, because I didn't consent to any of this, and neither did you. None of us did. I don't claim or aspire to know all the answers in life, but what I do know is that we're not alone out there. There's nowhere we're alone. And if there is a God out there, He's watching. Or it's watching. And what these perpetrators, these workers of iniquity, try to hide, it's already being seen. It's already been jotted down. And it's already been acknowledged of what they're doing. And what in turn happens as a result. I've had a lot of different situations happen going through this. And I've looked back at a lot of situations that happened back when I was a child and actually started to question, could this program been behind those things that happened when I was younger? Considering how far back this stuff goes, I would not be surprised. Do I know this to be a fact? No. Do I suspect it to be a fact? Yes. Do I intend to find information to basically try to back this up and see if it is an actual fact? Of course. The thing is that no matter how you look at it, these perpetrators try to take as much of your time as possible. They are addicted to attention. They are addicted to our energy and basically taking our energy for themselves. Because no matter how you look at it, they're empty inside. They may have a lot of money. They may have some fame. They may have the cars, the clothes, the jewelry. But no matter how you look at it, we're all individuals who are just satisfied for what just having what little we have. We don't need all of that glamorous bullshit out there. We don't need any of that. It's not that serious to us. No, not to any of us. Have you ever noticed that? I can't speak for everybody. And I don't intend to, because everybody is unique in their own way. The difference is that you know, as long as you find a way to basically use that uniqueness, basically, you know, it's more of a benefit instead of a, you know, to use it more of a benefit instead of a bad habit, then you should be on the right track. I'd like to bring this video into a close. I will leave various links down and below for you all. I want to give a special thanks to Generation for these links. This deals in with finding information about your medical records and other things that may have been otherwise hidden from you and not mentioned. As far as the full explanation for all of this, I'd recommend you to try to get in contact with him in order to find out for the rest for yourself. I've got to be very brief about this because I've only saw, you know, this in a live stream once. And it was actually, you know, between both that time and now, quite a lot of things have happened. A lot of people were hit by that ice storm that hit Texas a little while ago. And I can already tell you that a lot of things, you know, a lot of people weren't happy with that at all. This is MM's TI Strategy Guide. Sending love to all of you. Sending hope and prayers all to all of you, hoping that you all are doing well, staying strong out there. Remember, you are not alone in this fight. Don't you ever think so. They wish to isolate us because together they know for a fact we are strong. And I'm going to give you some tips on this. They don't want TIs in the same area with each other to basically watch each other's backs because they rely on manipulating the target individual's blind spots so much. They rely on that. But if you got two sets of eyes, one basically is watching the other's blind spot. You get how that works? If you have, you know, if you have someone to watch your back, it really helps. And if you find yourself in a position to where either you're married or you're in a relationship with someone who's basically has stuck with all of this through you and they have not turned over into this whole mess, you better hold that person tight because you are more blessed than you ever know because you got one of the good ones. Doesn't matter whether it's a man, doesn't matter whether it's a woman. Stay strong, everybody. Stay strong. Stay strong with positivity and stay fierce against negativity. Good night, everybody.